Welcome back to my Low Vision Awareness Month series. Okay, this is actually the second video in my mini 3-video series about school as a low vision student. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about ways that public schools, I guess any school in general, but I went to public school, so that's all I can speak of, how they can be more accessible and accommodating for low vision students. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to explain different ways that I think schools can be more accepting and accommodating for low vision students, while also giving some background and stories of things that I have personally experienced. So the first thing I want to talk about is Braille signs. The public high school that I went to had about 30 bathrooms. I don't remember the exact numbers. I know I did count it at one point, but they had about 30 bathrooms and only about 5 or 6 had Braille on the signs. That's nothing. Such a small amount. When I had a history class about disability rights, but it was the only history class I've ever had about disability rights, I brought that up to my entire junior class on how I had only noticed only 5 bathrooms in the entire school had Braille out of the 30 or so. And the response that I got from all of the other students in my class was that it doesn't matter. Blind students are just too dumb to find the bathroom anyways. This took me back. I did not know how to respond. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. Because obviously, as I am trying to prove within this video series, we are definitely not too dumb to find the bathroom, and I think everyone should have the right to be able to check for themselves that they are going into the proper bathroom. And completely blind or just low vision, we can definitely find the bathroom on our own, especially if it is the only school that we are at for 4 years. The next situation I want to talk about is actually something that happened quite recently, or at least it happened right before schools were shut down due to COVID. So it happened almost exactly a year ago at the end of February of 2020. I had noticed that whenever we had fire drills, I found it very difficult when I would have to go out a certain entrance of my school. The way that my school is designed is we have a main entrance that isn't really used. Most students don't actually use this entrance except for to exit school at the end of the day, and that's only the students who are taking the bus. It's not a very commonly used exit, except for in the case of emergencies and for students who are taking the bus at the end of the day. Therefore, I didn't take this staircase very often. However, when we would have fire drills, I often found myself having to exit through this staircase. One of the biggest problems that I faced, though, was I couldn't see the staircase very well, and because I didn't take it on a regular, I didn't have it memorized to know how many stairs there was, and there were landings between each level of stairs. I don't know how to explain that, but each level of the staircase had a different amount of stairs, and there would be a platform between each level that was a different length. So I had to shuffle my feet because I didn't know where the stairs would start. I found this to be very dangerous, especially when hundreds of kids were rushing behind me. And thankfully, it was only in the case of a fire drill, so we weren't rushing that bad. But if it were a serious fire, of course, that would be a very dangerous situation. So I brought up this concern to the principal of my school and mentioned to him why it was an issue, and that the solution, I felt like, would be to add grip tape strips, like many stairs have, or like caution tape strips, to each stair within this stairwell. I would say for the most part there was maybe 30 stairs total that they would have to put tape on, so it wasn't too many. My principal heard me out. He said that he would look more into it, that I should send him an email to remind him, all of which I did. But after he talked to the janitors, he eventually came back to me with an email that said, no, we cannot do that. We cannot put tape on the stairs to accommodate you, which still blows my mind because it's such a simple accommodation, yet they couldn't do it. And it had to do with my safety. Not only was I trying to do that for my safety, but knowing that there would be more low vision kids to come after me in the school, even though I was the only low vision student within the school of a few thousand for 4 years, I knew that there would be a low vision student coming within the next few years, and I knew that there would just be more to come. So any way that I could have made the school more accessible, I wanted to, and I brought up that concern, and my own principal didn't hear me out. I also had the opportunity at one point, my sophomore year, to speak on a panel of about 20 students with the superintendent about things within our school community that we thought would be beneficial for the student body. This was anything that had to do with activism, things that we thought would be better change, anything to hear student voices within the school community. And I was very lucky to be able to sit in this meeting with the handpicked 20 other students. When it came to my turn to speak, I stated a lot of the issues that I had faced with my vision. And with the superintendent there, the conversation very immediately switched from my issues about disability accessibility within my school very quickly back to race. And while I understand that that is a very large issue, it really sucked to not have anybody hear me out in the things that I was trying to say. I also faced being denied joining the swim team both my freshman and sophomore year, both due to my vision. My freshman year, it was from the coach, and my sophomore year, it was from the athletic director. I was finally able to join the swim team my junior year, and I just didn't tell anybody that I was joining. I had to be very quiet and secretive about it, except for to my own family and very close friends. But otherwise, I didn't tell anyone because I was scared of being denied again. I was finally able to join, of course, and I had such a fun time. I just wish that I would have been able to join previous. And I think that's something that needed more education about. The previous coach to the swim team and our athletic director needed to know more about the fact that swimming is an accessible sport for low vision and blind people. It is a Paralympic sport for low vision people in the Paralympics. So I believe that if those people had more training and knew more about the low vision community, they wouldn't have quickly come to those assumptions that it just wouldn't have been safe for me to do the sport. Because clearly I played, well, I guess you don't play in swimming, but I was a swimmer for an entire season, and it was definitely still safe for me. And then, of course, the most common issue that I face is with teachers, just in general, getting access to work. A constant battle that I always had to face with my teachers was getting access to my work in the digital format that I needed. Now, according to my IEP, which I explained in the last video, I had specific accommodations that legally my teachers had to follow, such as providing my work in a digital format that I could enlarge, or if it couldn't be in a digital format, in a format that was physically enlarged. Many, many times my teachers would say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't have time to do that." And while I totally understand that, because I understand that teachers are overworked and very underpaid, it was very, very difficult to constantly be told that by my teachers and then have my grades suffer as a result. No matter how much activism I did, or my vision teacher did, or my own mother did, as she understood what I was going through and had even a harder time in school, so she was one of my biggest advocates, I still did not get the proper access that I deserved and needed to these assignments. I think something that would really help is if teachers had in-services or it was a part of the training to become a teacher, to learn how to work with different disabled kids and not just behaviors. The curriculum of how the school system works in general is very much focused on visual learners. A lot of it is, taking notes and studying from textbooks, and a lot of it is very visual. It favors visual learners. So whether you have low vision or not, if you're not a visual learner, that is something that you definitely struggle with. But as someone who has a visual disability, the school system was very inaccessible to me. And although the curriculum is something that a lot of people believe needs to be changed now, and I agree because a lot of it is outdated to what is relevant for the world today, I think that that's not necessarily the first step, because that's not a feasible first step. I think that the first step is to teach teachers and administration how to work with individuals with disabilities and not treat us like we are any different. Give us our accommodations and support us, but treat us like any other student. We are not dumb. We know what we are doing, we just need the access to it. I had very good grades when I had access to my own schoolwork. And as for students, I have faced a lot of issues with students. Specifically in high school, I did face a lot of bullying. I had students who would very, very often try to steal my stuff. And it became a game for them. It became a game that, if I can steal Ellie's stuff, well then I can steal it because she just can't see me. Or if I did see them stealing my stuff, then it would be the game of, well then you're faking your vision because you could see me steal it. And that became such a constant thing. And, I'm used to kids calling me names and all of that, but that was just a new level for me. I would have kids jump in my face in the hallways and try to take stuff directly from me, kids who I didn't even know. And I would go to the dean and they would have it on camera and nothing ever happened. And I think that that's something that it just seemed like my voice as a disabled student didn't matter. And I know that this is a very controversial topic of, but people are fighting for disabilities and you're not fighting for anything else. I want to make this very clear. I think that all of these other minority groups, such as race, LGBT, women's rights, all of that is very valid and very important. I agree. However, there are very few people fighting for disability rights, and that is why that's what I choose to focus on. I am never saying that those things aren't important. However, there is a voice for those. Those are talked about. And this is something that's not, and my voice is not often heard. And I'm not just speaking for me. I am speaking for all of the people who have disabilities and have low vision that aren't speaking. My own mother has faced all of the issues that I have faced, plus more, because she is obviously much older than me. I am raising my voice for all of those who don't have a voice. And that's something that I wish that the school system would listen to me about. I think that the biggest way that the school system can be more accommodating is to actually hear out their students. I hope you enjoyed this video. That's just my take on some of my personal experience. There's of course so much more that I didn't get into about different situations and experiences that I've had, but that's just some of my thoughts, opinions, and experiences. And I hope that you learned a lot from that and it opened your eyes to a little bit of a different perspective, because not many people have walked this path in life. And we all have a different journey. We've all had different struggles, but this is mine. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you keep watching. I hope you're learning a lot from these videos. And please Have a good rest of your day.